Well, I think the new building will get you a lot more funding. I think though, I was, talking to Sharon, I'm still studying this and I'm trying to wrap my head around things. And so it seems like in the county or, at the facility, and I haven't been to that facility but a few times, but it seems like you guys are at capacity right now. Are you at capacity year round?
No,
Lot of
not
time.
always.
Not always?
The winter time's a lot smaller.
Well, a lot, so 80% capacity in the
Yeah.
winter?
Yeah.
Lower?
No,
No,
Not
about
lower?
80%.
not under 80.
Well, we always try to keep them as long as we can to give them as much chance as we can to adopt. It's in the summertime when we've got so many coming in.
With all the litters.
Yeah.
And so with the new facility, are you going to expand capacity or are you going to add all this ancillary stuff on the side? What's the decision there?
Our cat capacity will increase tremendously.
Yeah.
What's tremendously?
Like we have adoption cages, but our stray hold cages, we only actually have 4 actual cages that we can put.
So that would increase to what?
We'd go for our cats, I think we could go up to 30, from 15 to 30. We double our cats, plus we could take in kittens and
And
have
then-
kittens and
Right.
puppies.
And then your dog capacity now is what?
Our dog capacity is 30 animals on the hill, only 15 right now
Right,
because
until we get it
half the
fixed.
hill is broken. Our stray hold area is 15 stray hold kennels, and then we have 15 or 16 down at the main building that are adoptable animals. So our adoptable dog number will be the same except for adding puppies. And then but the intake number will double. We'll double our intake, so we'll be able to hold more. And we're hoping by having a more visible
So you'll be able to
facility,
hold
we'll
more,
be
but
able
your
to-
adoptable dog number will stay the same?
Yeah, well, our hope is that by having the nicer facility, we'll have more people adopting. So they'll come in and adopt more, we can move
Yeah.
them quicker. Because if you adopt one animal, you save 2 lives, so you can move one in as quick as you move one out.
Is it an expense thing that you don't want to increase the capacity a little bit? Or
The
is it-
reason we don't want to increase is because when they go to the adoption floor, they have to be vaccinated and it's spayed or neutered. So we've made a financial $100 investment in them
It's really a
to
little
put
more
them,
than that.
to
but-
put them on the floor. So if they don't get adopted, then what do you do with them? Or if they don't get adopted, or they get sick, or if they don't get adopted and they bite somebody. So that's why we have foster homes. So a lot of our animals can already be like that, but go to foster homes and get some training and come back and be adopted because they've had some training away from the facility. And a break from being around, a structured environment like that. They're in a more familial environment, which makes them ready to be adopted more. That's the goal of fostering.
Sure.
And so that we can house more than 15.
And so I think we would just want to have individual conversations with the foundation or the entity that we're trying to get money from and see if that's a hiccup or not, if we're not expanding enough. Does it show growth is needed, or if we're keeping the capacity the same?
Now,
is that
adoptions
a turn
doesn't count.
off?
When we have shelters, other facilities pull from us to adopt. Like we have rescues that pull from us.
Sure.
And if we vetted the animal, they reimburse us for it. If we haven't vetted the animal, then they have to be responsible for that. Because by law, we're responsible to vet the animal.
And
How
also,
active are you guys with?
and also Sharon, don't forget, we're gonna have the transition kennels where
That's right.
they're gonna be adoptable, but it'll be that they haven't been spayed or neutered yet. Anybody that wants to adopt
Yeah,
one of
there's
those has to
10
wait until we can
transition kennels.
get them to the vet.
And the reason we have transition kennels is, say I pick an animal that I want now in our current facility, because they're not all fixed, that are on the floor. So if they want the animal and we take it to get fixed, say for some reason it dies during surgery, these things happen. Or they get parvo and die the next day, that's happened. People come to get the animal and it's no longer alive. Weird things happen, but it happens, and it's not that unusual for it to happen. So then a person comes back to get the animal and it's not available. So to stop that from happening, we choose the animals that are behavior and health. They pass our criteria and the law's criteria. And then we move them to the transition area. And while they're there, they get vetted. They get their shots, they get dewormed, they get back, fixed. And then we do more behavior work and behavior assessment, so they have a transition time, they heal, then they go upstairs. Right now, we can spay or neuter an animal and somebody can take it home that afternoon. we kind of like for them to get well before they go home to 12 kids playing with them, you know. So that transition area will give us a healthier animal to go out the door and help us control our disease.
So basically, we'll have the same number of adoption spaces, but hopefully everybody in the adoption floor is ready to walk out the door. Somebody can come in and say, I want that animal, and it goes.
Then we'll-
Downstairs, we'll have some that are released from stray status, that we don't have them on stray hold. But, you know, with the caveat that, you know, they haven't been spayed yet, and things do happen in surgery, and there is a possibility that, you know, it's not very likely. I mean, the vets that help us out are very, very skillful vets. So it doesn't happen very
There's
often.
no reflection on our veterinarians, that's just
But-
animals.
So we'll have another, 20 spots, I think, or 22 spots that we allocated for transitions that are off a stray hold, that
I think
right
it was
now we
just-
don't have that
I think
kind
it
of
was just
capacity.
10, wasn't it 10?
Yeah, it was 10.
It was 10 for the transition, and I think we had 50, if we had for 10, 20, 30, that would be 40 that we could have in stray hold, and 10 in transition, and then 16 upstairs. So we could house a whole lot more animals than we have now. Which
Yeah.
means we wouldn't have to turn away so many people and make them mad. However, it may make our euthanasia rate also increase when we take in more animals.
Well, and that's what I'm worried about, that it's just a lateral move, and that's what they see. And so that's the reason I brought that up initially. And so I would think that they would want to see increased capacity if we're asking for all this money to build a brand new facility.
Right.
You know, and I think that, you know, if it was between us and someone else getting some money allocated, and it was just a lateral move, they wouldn't see the benefit. We need to stick to our mission statement, which is, you know, trying to save as many as possible.
Basically 40 straight hold spots would more than double our straight
So,
hold.
so based on what you've just educated me with, that's a good thing.
Now,
And so-
what you don't know is, you may know, but we have to hold an animal 7 days by law.
Mhm.
So that as an owner, you have time to find your lost pet, if it's your lost pet. And if you don't collect it in those 7 days, and it's an adoptable animal, then we try to find it a home, a foster, or we send it to a rescue group. Everything we can do to keep our euthanasia rates down, we try.
Sure.
But we can't control how many people come in and adopt. And we have enough stray animals in our county that if every resident owned 7 animals, now I'm not saying every family, if you have 5 people in your house and 5 people need 7 animals, then we'd have enough homes for all the animals that are currently in our county. That's how many large animals we have
Yeah,
here.
that's a lot. I mean, it's definitely a problem. It stands
So
out.
it's very
Right.
hard to
So-
do the job.
So your sustainability year to year on the budget that you have, you gave me that, and I haven't had a chance to review it. You're at the end of the year, what do you look like? Are you scraping it together, or are you staying pretty steady?
Financially, right.
Yeah, with the funding you have right now at
Well,
at
we're
that
actually
facility.
asking for increases in our funding because our costs have increased, and so, and then Neil's working with that with the politicians now.
On top of the 138?
Right.
Okay, to increase that, okay. And then is everyone fundraising? I mean, is that just part of this board? Is that?
Has been forever, yeah. I mean, that's unfortunately a huge part of it.
Right.
Sure.
Well-
And I think it is with, not only humane societies nationwide, but other organizations like ours that, are partially funded by contract entities, but that's just it, it's partial funding. And you're left to go out and try to scrape any way you can.
I mean, every dollar counts.
Exactly.
Every dollar counts. We could send out, 40 or 50 grant applications and get 1 approval, or we could get 9 approvals, who knows? I'm kind of a 10-3-1 guy, you send out 10, 3 have promise, maybe they get back with you and 1 happens. That rule kind of works in any business, so. All we can do is try, guys, and I've been pretty busy with my responsibilities lately, but they'll die down in the next few weeks. I'll be able to write the actual grant fairly quickly, and then get Michael to help me hone it. That might take a couple of weeks, and then I could email it to you and let you distribute after review and for everyone's review, and then just go from there and communicate. And I can handle the back and forth with the foundation, build the rapport initially, things like that.
Make
Keep
phone
keep
calls.
up with that. So I'm willing to do that, pro bono, and you guys, keep doing what you're doing. I don't have time to get any more involved than the grant writing
Well, that's pretty big all by itself.
or the finance. Yeah, it'll take some time, and
We've
my
been
phone.
searching for a person to do that for us for quite a few years.
And I'm going to have to rely on people like Michael Weiss to help me with that. And let's see what we can do on that front, and just see what's working. And we won't send it all out at once. It's just it's almost like an equity deal. You send it out to a couple, see how it's been
Get
received,
some feedback.
and then maybe we can tweak it a little bit, and then we see where we're getting some traction. And we,
Sounds good.
go from there. So I think I'm done.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming, and
I appreciate what y'all do.
You don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Yeah.
You're free to go.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you,
I appreciate
Madam
that.
Clerk.
I'll be in touch with you.
Okay,
soon.
sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Yancy.
All right, y'all have a good day.
To move us along, I guess, unbeknownst to me, but I guess maybe we've got a little issue that there are 2 or 3 folks who want to bring up in the interest of
Time.
hearing, what the issues are. I would open the floor one at a time, just take a minute or 2, express your concern, or ask your question, or whatever, and we'll just go from there and kind of walk through it.
Well, I don't think anybody asked to be on our agenda, but we certainly are happy to hear.
I mean, we're open, we can do it.
Your letter says open to questions and answers. That people can come and ask questions. I've got
Oh,
them
yeah,
today.
This is
that's
our
our
annual
member
meeting.
letter.
Well, I got the member letter.
Yeah, well, we opened it up, anybody, sure.
And if I don't have something to your liking, then, I'm sorry, you need to put on a piece of paper what questions I can ask.
No. Whoa, hang on, whoa, wait a minute, before we get started.
I'm not the one that was raising the cane on it, but I do.
Well, I opened
Cut off.
I opened the floor up, I very specifically stated, that, just kind of be brief and make the points, and we'll talk through the issues.
Serious issues, it's just,
Okay,
the public would like some answers.
all right, let's talk
I
about
don't
it.
think that- They don't think, well, especially, I'm speaking for a lot of people, they don't think we've been all that transparent. And I can kind of see where they might get that idea, but one of the things that with Mr. Gatlin that's going to do the grants, that's a good thing. I'm not knocking that. But I've read the grant requirements. Is the reason for the grants is to stop, to halt as many euthanasia killing of animals as possible, to get money to help with adoptions. And so it's not to build new buildings. There may be some, I haven't read every one of them. But the problem is we need to look at the now more so than a future building. And when you look at the euthanasia list, that seems like a heck of a lot to a lot of people.
It is a lot.
And I hear that there's, they just say that they just don't feel like there's enough being done to try and do it. And it's great to bring him in, but what's going to happen for the now? To try and get more funding, if it's more funding to help pay for the adoptions to lower the cost. Because, it's like I told my story weeks ago, you're not going to adopt a kitty cat in Alabama for $150 bucks. I know there's cost in the shots and all that, but it's just not going to hardly happen. That's why you have only adopting out a tenth of what comes in. And that's what people want to see, is what can we do to get more funding in from the local people and such as that. How many volunteers work at the center?
How many work at the center? Currently, how many you got, Sean, volunteers working?
Come to the facility,
Mhm.
maybe 2.
And we certainly keep it open and advertise for volunteers. We've had volunteer training classes. We've had 2 within the last 6
I
months.
do them every other month. The next
Yeah.
one will be the second Saturday in August. So it's here at the library.
Well, do
I usually have on average maybe 2 people that are trained. It's about an hour-long class. We ask that you do it after your third volunteer, after you volunteer 3 times at the shelter, then we'd like for you to go through the volunteer training course. It's about an hour course, and I do it every other month at the library.
A great way for people to help would be to volunteer and come help us do adoption events so we can find pets homes. Then we can take them away from the facility where a lot of people don't want to come because there's things there, you know, which they will never be exposed to. You're only exposed to the animals that are adoptable, for one thing.
How many
But,
have they had this year?
I mean, what have we had?
Adoption events?
Adoption events, we have probably had 4 or 5. We used to have them every Saturday till we had no volunteers.
Yeah, I used to film a lot of them.
I used to go every Saturday
That's
myself, but I'm not the only person and I can't do it all. So we started having team members and team leaders. Now we have 2 team leaders and no volunteers. Sean and Gayla Blades are all we have. We have 2 people to take teams. And it takes 2 leaders to go and take 6 or 8 animals and 6 or 8 people to be responsible for. Every animal has to have a person or it can't go. So if you really want to help us, one of the first things to do, be part of our volunteer group
Where were
and
the
learn
events
what we
at?
do.
Were they here or out of town?
We have volunteer adoption, the adoption things.
Yeah.
We have some at the car wash,
Flea
we have them
flippers.
at the library, we have them at Petco, we have them at Tractor Supply, we have them at Petco in Columbus.
And other special events like Juneteenth.
We have Juneteenth, that's right.
Fredonia Heritage Day.
Fredonia Heritage Day.
Freedom, you do.
If there's an opportunity in the community, and we actually were not able to come to the library kickoff, and we were invited because we had no volunteers.
I went to the shelter and we didn't have enough volunteers to bring animals to the library.
I mean, I gotta believe it. In fact,
People
somebody-
talk a lot, but they never show up.
But do they know about it?
Oh, they know. In fact, we have over 200 volunteers signed up.
Yeah,
They
my
don't
question
show.
is what is your statement about lack of transparency?
Yeah, I want to know what we're not transparent about, because we list all the numbers of
I
every
mean,
animal we get, who's,
We
who
put our
get.
numbers in the paper every week. I mean, that's one of the things that the people you're talking about are so upset is they used to ignore us, and we're trying to get them to be more aware, and we put it in the paper every month. And then they turn around and use it like a club to beat us with, saying that we're not doing it.
And we put the numbers out there to show you that this is a problem, come help us
I
make
work
a
with
difference, help us. We can't do it by ourselves, it takes a whole community. So-
And one of the reasons for publishing those ugly numbers is to try to shame people into help. I mean, I don't know any other way to say that.
Or to fix their pets. If everyone would
You
fix
know?
their pets or would not backyard breed, we
Right.
wouldn't have this problem. We even offer financial assistance.
Well,
As a
y'all-
matter of
y'all-
fact, we have money sitting there
Yeah,
for
nobody's
people
using it, as I understand.
to
Yeah,
come and
they're
get
starting to
financial
use it some
assistance.
now.
Well, maybe you got my email. Y'all start sending me some stuff, I'll put everything I can out there.
Well, you know, yeah, you know we're not trying to hide any numbers. I mean,
I
and
think
we
people just
will.
forget about, you know, the TV station, everybody thinks everybody reads their paper. The newspaper's gone down here since the internet come.
Yeah.
It's gone down.
And we used to do
You look
TV
at one ad
shows.
and
We
it
used to
tells
go
you.
every week to the radio. We used to go every week to the TV and take animals. And I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning and came up here with animals to do that every week. And so did Sean.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook, we have a Facebook, and it lists the dogs, and I'm foster coordinator. There's an application out there for them to fill out to,
Oh,
You know.
To
I
be
know
a
at one
foster-
time there was
To be
confusion
a
about
foster.
Facebook page. I had 2 Facebook pages. You
Yeah.
go to one, it wasn't anything on it.
Yeah, it was an old one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had the
Had to
business
kinda
set
clear
up
that up,
incorrectly,
yeah.
so we by law had to change it.
Mhm.
Also, we are all, most of us are non-professional in this. We're all volunteers.
And we're all
You know,
animal
so
lovers of
whatever
our own
efforts that
time.
you see, us trying to put it on Facebook or getting it exposed, you know, we're not professionals.
There may still be 2 pages on there, because I get confused when I see older, real old.
We can't get
posts.
rid of it.
Yeah, we've
Facebook.
talked to Facebook, the email that it was set up with is no longer accessible to us. And so Facebook's like, well, if you can't respond to a message we send to that email address, then we're not going to let you shut it down or change it or do anything else with it. And
Sort of like
so
when
it's
you get locked
there.
out of your own email, and they want you to go to your email to get your password.
yeah.
Sort of like that.
But I don't know how bad the numbers are. Didn't we have a conversation in here about the improvement of
Yeah, I
The
know
numbers
that.
are greatly improved, yes, even though they're still high, they're half what they were.
I'm thrilled to see concerned citizens there that are worried because we have these big numbers. And people who are passionate, we like feisty gets things done. Let's be
Well, it shows a
realistic.
passion and desire.
That's right,
Some
but we're on the
energy.
same team. And that's what we want to tell you. So if you want to help animals get adopted, join us and help us. Don't beat us up for what we can't do. Make us proud of what we've already been able to accomplish and where we are
Help us do
going.
more.
Helps get
Help
better.
us do more. So there's a lot of great programs, like we were hoping in our new facility by having a more conducive environment, school kids would come and read to our cats and read to our dogs. It helps their reading skills and it spends time with the animals, mutual give and take. Whereas right now, you can't sit in front of an animal's kennel to read to them because there's 15 other dogs and they're barking, okay? So there's nowhere to sit. There is no opportunity for those kind of things to happen. And the more interactions we have as volunteers with the animals that are at the shelter, the more adoptable they are. Because they just have frantic energy stored up because they're in a kennel all day. They just need somebody to come out and walk them.
Interaction.
Take them out in the backyard and play with them.
And
We
that's-
could get people to do that, take the cats and.
One thing I'd like to point out about our cat numbers is that, we have 4 animal control agencies, or 3, I'm sorry, that bring us feral cats. Okay, these are wild cats. And,
That will tear you.
I mean,
to pieces.
unfortunately, we have to euthanize wild cats, and we get a tremendous amount of those.
Yeah, so don't think
So
every
it
animal
really
is
makes our
euthanized
cat
is
numbers
adoptable.
look a lot worse than what they are, and it doesn't correctly reflect tame cat.
And
intake and
unfortunately, people
outtake.
that love cats and will put out food for all the feral cats in the neighborhood, those cats get fat and happy and go find other fat and happy cats and have litters. And,
Bunches of them.
Well, let me explain it to you this way. 2 cats in 10 years can make 10 million cats. 2 cats, with only 2 cats per litter that repopulate. Okay, so, and I'm so glad you brought that up because our feral cats do make our numbers look a lot larger. And these are animals that you can't touch. But there is a program for feral cats if someone wants to get extra happy about cats in our community. And it's a big undertaking. But you go out and you trap the cats, you bring them in, they get fixed, so they can't
but it's
repopulate.
very volunteer intensive
That's
because
right.
you
And
have
it's
to
very
keep-
intensive.
you have to keep track of all the cats. And you have to learn to identify them. And when a new one comes in, you have to trap that one and get it new or spay.
You have to
You
monitor.
have to
the
monitor
food.
how much food you put out.
You clip their
Because
ear.
that way, if they have too much food, then they'll let other cats come in, but if you monitor their food, they'll keep other cats away from the neighborhood because they won't,
We'll share the food.
So that it's it's volunteer intensive. It's called, trap, neuter, release, or
TNR.
there's actually, Sean actually I paid for her to go to a week training session down in Jacksonville, Florida for it. And then the person that promised that they were gonna fund it and pay for all the vet bills couldn't come through with the money.
And let me explain this, it costs $75 for every cat you bring in to get fixed and put back out. And they get a rabies shot, and that's it.
75 total.
$75 per
Per
cat.
cat.
Right now, we've got one vet that for that program, they told us they would do it for that much money.
Well, that's expensive.
And 10
That's-
cats,
that's
that's
per cat.
$750.
And the average,
One colony.
the average colony is probably
40 or 50.
40 to 50 cats. The average wildcat colony is
So
gonna
even
have.
if you start with one colony, it
If you
takes
see
a
10
long time.
cats, then there's probably at least 25.
Now, the $75, does that, what about that's total?
That's just the
That's
vet bill,
The
that's.
vet bill for one cat to be spayed or neutered and a 3-year rabies vaccine. Because that's all they get. They do that and they tip the ear so that you know they've been fixed.
And so there's no way you could go down from 140 or 50 or whatever you are?
That's just the feral cat program, okay?
Yeah,
That's
that
not our
vet's
vet
all-
bill for
Oh, okay, well.
For our adoptable animals, which is what you're referring to, we have one test that we test those cats for, the feline leukemia and FIV test. That one test alone is $40 per cat, okay? That doesn't include the spay or neuter, it does not include a rabies vaccine, it does not include a feline distemper vaccine. It doesn't include deworming or anything else that's done to that cat.
Now,
So what we are giving for $150 for these kittens, if you have every bit of that done in a vet clinic, you're gonna spend well in excess of $300 on that one kitten.
when I was a child, and I always wanted, you know, we would see signs for free puppies. My dad used to say, "There's no such thing as a free puppy."
They cost way more than.
If you adopt a dog that's not a puppy, one of the reasons that we charge more for puppies and kittens is no vet locally will spay or neuter them. We have to take them to Columbus. So if you adopt a dog for $100, let's say 6 months old, if you had gotten that quote unquote free from a neighbor, you would have spent an easy $200 on getting it spayed, getting it rabies shot, getting it, you know.
And y'all hold those for how long to spend all the
Anything that we have already spayed or neutered and invested that kind of money in, we had
We
them
give
there
every
for
chance.
over a year before they got adopted.
Yeah.
Actually,
But
there's
they
12
didn't-
of them living at my house now.
But they didn't leave the facility except for in a new
We've
home.
taken yours on
So-
foster roles and
Thank you.
said you're
I'm not
adopted.
coming back yet. I'm following
But,
along.
and I think the bottom line, from that standpoint financially, is regardless of what number the adoptable number is, the realistic number is, that is just trying to recoup some of the costs. There is no money in the budget for doing that. You know,
That's the Humane
that's-
Society part.
Yeah,
When you adopt a dog, we have lost money, we have not
Right.
made money.
right.
But we want them adopted. And we've got some people that will donate money so that some people are able to adopt a dog or cat at
That's what we
$50.
do.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor's
Yeah, that's
done that
and-
for us.
And we're
And I don't know
grateful for
about you,
that.
but I don't
They did
want,
that.
I mean, let's face it, having a cat, even if it's already been spayed, neutered, or whatever, is still an ongoing financial obligation.
You still got flea treated, you still got.
You need to flea treat it, you need to take it to the vet once a year to get its rabies shot and to have it checked out. You need to feed it properly. And it's one of those things of, to me, I don't really want to give somebody a cat because it's, in my opinion, we've tried it in the past and they don't value it. They didn't save for it, they didn't decide that, you know, yes, cats cost money, it's some, you know, when you give somebody something for free, a lot of times they don't value it.
And that's one of our big
So-
intentions is to
So,
increase the
we,
value.
as much as we love your donations and like to give people a cheaper adoption, we don't want to go all the way down to free just because we want it to be
We
a
do go down
commitment on
to
their
25
part, you
now.
know?
I agree with you.
We go down to 25.
Yeah, the last thing that I want to point out is that this lady right here, these two ladies over here that work at the shelter, myself, and especially these three ladies, they sent 63 animals out to rescues over the last 2 months. Okay? It takes a lot of hard work to send an animal to a rescue, so you have to understand that the rescues want 10 photographs of the animal, they want you
I know
to
anything and everything about it.
email them every little scrap of information you can give them about the animal. They have to constantly relay back and forth with these rescues, and it's a lot of work.
And the rescues are
And
full
so
of
when we
ones.
hear people say that we don't try hard enough, you couldn't hurt us any worse than if you just walked up and slapped us in the face. Because that's a lot of work. And that's why we get so upset when people say we're not trying hard enough. Because these rescues are just as full as we are.
But most-
And
most folks
we're
are-
begging, pleading, working hard. I mean, these three ladies work hard
I think most
getting
people
these
believe that,
animals
know
out
that,
there.
but it's
So
just
when
a-
you're looking at that, the work that they did sent 63 animals out of our facility, whereas our community showed up to only adopt 23. So the community is the problem, it's not our staff. I just want to make that clear.
I
Well,
have a
it's also
question
not
on
the
the
shelter.
transportation. Have y'all ever used Jerry's transportation
For,
to shelters? Because she's big on helping.
and
adoption.
we'd be glad for her to
I will let her
to
know
get on the
to get-
transport list, absolutely. Our, you know, some of these rescues would love that. They would love to have some transport people, because, you know, we send a lot of these animals to Troy, North Carolina.
They
We've
would
had
share
some
all
go
over
to
the United
Minnesota, we've
States.
had
New
some
York,
go to
Wisconsin,
Wisconsin.
Maine.
You know, we worked really hard at that.
One was supposed to go to Chicago.
I kept her.
But somehow she stayed in the valley.
Didn't let her go, so I paid and adopted her.
This is called failed foster.
The only other thing that I have in my report for tonight, and that I want to go ahead and address, is that there were some things brought up on Facebook that we do things illegal at our facility. Okay, that was said. Now, we are inspected by the state every year.
Surprise inspection.
Well, it's not a surprise. We know when, about
When
the
that
general
state person
time that they're
comes.
coming. But, because there's a lot of paperwork that we have to provide for the state. But now, I have been there for over 12 years now, and we have never gotten an unsatisfactory report. Anybody that wants a copy of this, if you'll come by the shelter, I'll be more than glad to give it to you. This particular copy is for the president tonight, but we got a complete 100% satisfactory state inspection.
I'd be surprised if it was anything else.
Well, what do you, so the people know that Brother came, what's the most important thing? To help get more animals off of this?
Fix their animals.
Spay neuter.
Spay or neuter is,
Fix
in
your
my
animal and
opinion, spay and
volunteer.
neuter is the most important thing.
Fix them and volunteer, help us find homes. If you're an animal lover, come help us find homes for these animals.
And if you're an animal lover and you've got your own kind of makeshift shelter in your backyard, don't let them have litters.
Fix them.
Spay or neuter. I mean, because, we've had instances before where, especially with cats, the animal control officer will finally get involved, and all of a sudden, we've got 100 cats to take care of because some little lady in a double-wide trailer has, 100 cats that she can't feed, can't clean up after.
We had 2 young men, how many cats did they bring in 3 days?
The heartache of it is,
It was wild.
even when we have a lot of money, we can't convince people in court to get their animals fixed.
And that's the only long-term solution.
That is.
Spay
And
and
Spay and
neuter.
other states,
We
there
call
are laws.
it LES, legislation, education, and sterilization. That is the 3 things that must happen in order for this problem to go
The
away.
legislation, meaning laws have to be passed, like if you have to get your animal fixed, you have to have your litters registered with the city when you have a litter. If you're a breeder, you can only breed so many times, there's laws that these other states put into effect, and they work, because they don't have any animals running around. I know somebody who went to the cemetery and couldn't get out for the dogs that tried to attack them at the cemetery right down here on Highway 50. Yes,
Wow.
indeed.
Rosewater,
Huh?
where,
On Highway 50.
Well,
Yeah,
is there
I
any way to
don't
fix the Facebook page to where there could be current animals?
So if you know someone that, and I'm gonna be honest with you, when I took computer, when I was in school, it was a black screen with orange flashing lights. I'm very computer
Ain't never seen one of those.
technologically dyslexic.
And it
So
also
if-
doesn't help, our location, our internet connection is very spotty.
Yeah,
Right.
It's not-
Yes.
So if you know
Okay.
anyone that's willing to volunteer their time and come out and help us fix these issues with the Facebook and with our webpage, we would be absolutely groveling
Or
grateful.
come out and take pictures of the animals and post them for us.
That's what I.
Yeah, any networking,
About
you can do
Take
that.
the pictures to send to the rescue groups. There's
Yes.
so many things. Make phone calls to the rescues.
Now, the staff is the only one that's allowed to take pictures of our stray animals, and there's a reason for that, because if you go up there and you get bit,
We're liable.
we're liable for that. And so a lot of people don't understand why they can't go up and look at our stray animals or take pictures of them. The staff is the only one that's allowed to do that.
Are that the
because-
ones that just first come in?
Exactly, while they're still under their 7-day hold period.
Because we don't know if they're rabid.
We get
if they
in
come
some
And you don't want distributed pictures of those
It-
anyway.
but we
because-
post a
Well, we want
picture,
to
we
because
But you gotta be real careful.
But we want to
Oh,
help
with
the
the
owners.
with the
We wanna
owners,
help the
yeah.
owners
There's some
find.
cases where you don't know,
Yeah.
you gotta be careful with
Right.
that.
Yeah.
We're-
But what's
I mean-
happening when we post them, people want to adopt them, and they're not adoptable unless they're claimed. They pass our tests. They have to be healthy and they have to be,
People think they can determine what an animal acts like because it looks cute on a picture.
Right.
And that's not the case at all.
well, one of the biggest problems we
So-
have with the volunteer base is we had a cute little poodle, cute. Took him to Loach Poker Syrup Something Festival, had a whole pile of volunteers, we were having a good time. Volunteers holding this cute little doggy, and the lady comes up to, oh, what a cute dog. Guess what the puppy did? Bit her. Guess what we had to do?
Guess who had already told them the dog couldn't go?
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, and we've had dogs taken that Sean said this dog's not ready to be in a crowd yet, and volunteers took it anyway and bit a child, and luckily that child's parents didn't sue us.
but the
But that
animal
dog had to be
put down.
euthanized
Hey,
because,
yes, pay the price.
yeah.
The dog paid the price.
Then once they buy it, you have to euthanize.
That's why I didn't bring it to.
I mean-
And those, just to mention, those are some of the issues that we have had with volunteers in the past. And we do have to be emphatic about the fact that the director and staff have to make the decisions on which animals
Well, they have
are
training for
suitable for
that.
adoption, which animals are suitable to go to the adoption events and so forth. And honestly, we've had some friction on that before because individuals get compassionate and they want to make those decisions to save that animal, but unfortunately, those can come back and bite,
Every
for
time
lack of
they
another
get us, every
word. I
single
don't know
time.
how, you know,
Well,
anything
and,
else
and
to
some of them
say.
say, well, I don't care if it bites, I'll have it in my home. It's like, yeah, but when the neighbor's child gets bit, and they found out that we adopted it out, when we knew it would bite, then the neighbors sue us.
But the point is, it's against the law.
It is, that's exactly right.
We don't have a choice when it comes to those issues.
And we as volunteers don't make those decisions. That falls
Those are
strictly
Sean's
back on
been
the staff.
trained, Sean has been trained in,
Your Sean. Yes.
Continually trained.
You know, I've had calls personally, and Sean knows this, we've talked about, that wanted me to overrule decisions that the staff has made, and I don't get involved in those. I can't, I'm not qualified, and I'm not authorized to do that. But you do get those.
Any way to up the amount of cages that you're sued to now?
No, current, well, we
Well,
have
if you
15
want to buy
that
some,
need to be.
absolutely.
Pardon?
We can buy some more cages. Absolutely, we can
We
buy
have
some more.
15 right now that we've been trying to find somebody to do block work for, to repair, so we could take in 15 more animals. And we can't get help for somebody to come and help us do the block work.
And that's one of two
Right.
things.
I've
It's
called four
either,
masons and I can't even get an estimate, get them to come out and give me an
I
estimate.
mean, this
on
isn't
doing the
free
block
work.
we started out
We're
trying to
gonna
get it done volunteer, and we couldn't get anybody volunteer. Now, we're saying we'll come up with some funding to get it done, and we can't get people out, contractors out.
Are the area churches helping in this?
No, we don't have any church involvement.
No church involved at all?
And actually, we have one of our board members who has done some church
We've been-
presentations to try to employ some of those people
well,
in
and he's been
volunteering.
trying to get some of the church members to volunteer, but the churches themselves are not interested.
Right.
If they're gonna fundraise, they're gonna fundraise
For
for
themselves.
themselves.
Yeah, because they're a nonprofit as well, but to honor their responsibility to God to help take care of the
Well, he
animals,
puts us in charge
you
of
can
that.
encourage volunteers and you can encourage monthly donations. You know, we have a monthly donation program that you can do an auto draft out of your checkbook or your credit card. $10. You can go as low as $10. You can do as much as you want.
But when we have 150 animals coming in and only 23 citizens showing up to adopt, that's 127 animals. That we can't just, take down the givers and turn loose like some people do. I mean, euthanasia sounds horrible, but I honestly think it's better than having a dog digging through the dumpster and not getting any health care and not getting any love. I think it's more humane to euthanize one than to have it living on the streets.
And I think if you look at the facility itself, I think you'll find a really efficiently run operation. And I don't want it to sound like we're out here destitute and living fully by volunteer funding and volunteer services. We're not. We do receive funding from the government entities that we contract with. They fund about, it's right at 70%, I think, isn't it, Wayne?
Yeah.
Right at 70% total. And that's through Chambers County government as well as City of Valley, City of Lynette, and then we do some contracting with the City of Lafayette also. They do fund us at about 70%, but money has been an issue with them through the years as
We
well.
haven't had an increase in
4 years?
At least 4. It may have been a little longer than that. And, and they're trying to work with us now that the economy is better. And they're trying to fund more as they can, but they all, they're strapped for money as well. The squeaky wheel is squeaking on all 4 wheels, but they are trying to work with us. So, I don't want to leave the impression that, it's 100% voluntary contribution. It's not. We do receive some tax dollars from these entities.
But that's
it's-
what pays our employees,
That's
our
right.
power bill, our
Most
insurance.
of it, not all of it.
That's
but-
right, yeah, hopefully.
We still come up
As
short
part
in
of
that
that-
fundraiser.
But as part of that contract, part of the contract says that we can limit how much of our shelter they dominate. But still, Valley and Chambers County citizens and Lynette Animal Control, there are lots of times when we're like, we're not saying we won't take your animal, it's like, but we can't take them today. Because we do we have the 7-day hold commitment that's by law that we have to honor. And then we try to keep as many as we can that are adoptable. And there are some that are just aren't adoptable. I remember, it was probably 10 years ago now, but there was a wolf hybrid that was as sweet as it could be to people. I used to love to go out and pet it and talk to it. But if you let it into a yard, it would climb, dig, jump any fence to kill any other dog in the neighborhood. There was no way that we could let it loose. It would kill every dog in any neighborhood it was in. And plus now there's a law that you can't adopt out of a wolf hybrid, so.
On the Facebook thing, I know you read some of them. I only caught about 2 people that really, I don't think nobody blames y'all so much, or didn't try to.
Oh,
They
yeah.
Maybe
try
I
to
missed
attack
it.
us, because we're just the ones that are
I seen one guy
there.
from Valley who thinks everybody else in Valley is a total idiot.
Oh, well, there's always that.
You expect.
Well, I had
See,
one
what
lady.
you have to
that was just a thing
understand is when it hits one social media place like that Valley Net Chat, whatever, I don't know
Yeah.
for sure what that is. Because I personally don't read that stuff because it's not personal to me. This is my job, it's not personal, so I don't take any of that stuff personally. But, the staff reads it too, and
It hurts your feelings.
it hurts, it can hurt. I used to take it personally, but I've learned over the years that, it's not personal, people are being compassionate, and, it's not really an attack against you personally, it's about the situation. So I understand that
You
perfectly.
see, you brought up 2 things that really upset me. You can't get a church in Valley to help out a little bit. All these churches in Valley,
Yeah.
not one has helped out.
Don't be upset with us,
Not
be upset
as a
with the
church.
church.
A lot of the
No,
churches.
that's what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
saying with the churches.
Mhm.
They ought to be jumping in a little bit. They're always asking for money for this, that, and the other. Well, ask a little bit for the money. Because I think the problem is like, where these people are saying y'all aren't transparent
Yeah, what
enough, is
if
y'all
they
been
want
forced
their money?
out of sight, out of mind.
That's right.
Just
And
Take
that's
the
another
dogs.
reason that we wanted to move.
Do what you want to
so that
with them.
we're-
That's
Just
one
don't
of the main
involve
reasons we
us.
want to move, so you gotta see
And then
it.
the
We're
other-
right here in your face, do something about it.
There's a lot of masons, and we'll find a friggin' mason that can, is it like a major
It's
construction?
just cinder block, walls.
Well, what you have to understand is that there are regulations to building an animal facility, okay? There are requirements that you must go by. So, in order for us to raise the money for what we're talking about to retrofit this building, we're looking at raising another $1.5 million.
Oh, it's a
Another
big
way.
complex.
And that's to meet the requirements that we have to meet in animal housing.
So if we get volunteers to build the cages on those blocks, do you
Well,
have to
that's a
have?
Now,
short-term
that's a separate-
fix.
that's a
That's
Yeah, but-
short-term
That's what I'm
fix.
talking about.
But
just
what I'm
make-
saying, if we got somebody to do it, does it have to be guidelines they have to follow? to
Well, there'll be
put
somebody
those
there
blocks
who will
on?
show them what to
The
do.
things that the guidelines go by, which is the drain system,
Are
the
already in
slope
place.
in the drains and
This
things
is
like
just
that,
building
that's
blocks.
already in place.
At-
So
at
you
the
just
current
need
So
site.
I just
Yeah.
need somebody to come out and lay
Lay
cinder
block.
blocks up 6.5 feet high, so that we can put new gates up
And open up those.
and of course there'll have
Because
to
the
be
floor is already
sealed,
there,
but-
the drains are already there, we need
Right.
the wall.
All we need is block layers.
All these block layers in Bethlehem, one person gonna come out and lay some.
I thought vocational school used to do volunteer stuff like that, didn't it?
Well, all those people talk big, but they don't show.
We put a plea out on Facebook for them. We put a plea out on Facebook for fosters.
We actually had, one of the Chambers County schools said they were gonna bring their masonry students and then backed out on us. That was like 2 years ago.
Yes, well, maybe my memory.
But it's a lot of block laying, it's 15 kennels, and so, you know, like you say, okay, well, why can't we get like a Boy Scout Eagle troop to come in there, or Eagle Scouts? It's more than one person can do, you know, it's not one weekend of work unless you're an accomplished block layer. And even then, you can probably have to take 3 or 4 days to get them all laid.
And there are projects that Eagle Scouts can do and do.
Right.
But
They
this
have-
is something-
We have one plan.
But this is something that needs to be professionally done,
And
because
they do
otherwise
help us, our
you're
scouting
just
groups do help us.
throwing
And it's-
time and money away.
And it's amazing how much, you know, like at the new building, basically we've got that old textile building that is just as solid as a fort, but it's almost all masonry. We're gonna put in concrete block kennels, and they're still making us put in a sprinkler system that's gonna cost us, what, $257,000?
And that's.
And it's all masonry work, what's gonna burn?
But that's if we get to the new facility, but for
Yeah.
right now, we've got 15 kennels that we need. One side of it, the length is 10 feet, on the other
She said,
side
we
is
hate to
5
turn
feet.
people away, like this happened one time, a lady says, I just picked up a dog, I'm gonna bring it to you, I picked it up, I found it on the side of the road, I'm gonna bring it to you, I'm being good. And she thinks she's doing the right thing, right? She comes in the shelter, she's so happy, she's done a good deed, she saved this animal, she brings it in the shelter, but we don't have any room. Well, now what am I gonna do? I picked up this dog, now what am I gonna do with it? Well, you need to make that decision before you pick up the dog.
Wow.
Because once you pick it up, it becomes yours. And then, so what we want people to do is call in advance, see if we have room. And if you're gonna pick up an animal, we realize that you're responsible for it until there is room. Because what they'll say is, well, I'll just go down the road and put it out, which they do. Which is, you know, but if we don't have room, so these 15 extra kennels, hopefully we can make a few more people happy, not make them angry because we can't take their
Because
cats.
you already got the cages.
Oh,
Or
everything's
can-
there.
Well, no, we have,
Well, we're gonna need to
we're
see
gonna make 3
blocks.
walls and then all we need is
Okay.
And they're gonna make a chain link.
There's
gate.
already the center wall. Center wall's
Yeah,
already
okay,
there
so,
with the
yeah.
guillotine in it. So we just need the
Outer walls.
outer walls.
The end wall.
And some of it's already laid up to a certain point, but we need them to go on up.
Because you know, not many dogs need
About
a
3
fence this
blocks.
high. This high.
Yeah, it's about 3 blocks
3
high
blocks.
now.
What happened was is we had some things that we'd gone online and these people made promises and even guaranteed their stuff. So we only came up with three blocks, and then we had these, spent a ton of money on them from this company over Ohio. And they didn't last, what, 3 years?
3 or 4 years.
And their 10-year guarantee, they totally ignored. And
Well,
we
they're
didn't have
not
the money.
business anymore, so.
Well,
I think Sean's doing an adoption event.
I think they're still in business.
And you know,
I think
those
they
are
just
things
changed
you
their
try to save
corporate
money and
name.
do the right thing, and ultimately ends up costing you, and that's why
So I've got,
we wanna try to do it
August the
right.
5th at the car wash.
We know that cinder block will last. We don't have
I brought
to
this
listen to
too.
anybody's promises.
In September, I've gotta get with the lady at the coffee closet, we're gonna do an adoption. event.
Anybody else? I mean,
Have
all
we
here?
answered your
Yes,
questions,
in
or do you have
October.
more questions, or?
I don't know
That
yet.
pretty much.
I've got to
I mean, we
get
do-
on the date.
we do-
October's gonna.
We are trying to do the right thing, and we want people to know that we're trying to do the right thing and we need more help.
And
So
then
we are
November,
trying to be
after
transparent.
November, I do not have
And,
a date on that yet.
But I'm also,
The
you know,
November.
Heritage Day.
even if we built 100 new kennels,
I don't know the date on it yet.
They'd be full.
they'd be full in a month, and we'd be back to our same euthanasia numbers. Because we're getting 1,800 to 2,000 animals a year in, and
She's got a
except
cat
for,
rescue.
you know, some rescue and some transport,
That's
you know,
not-
our adoption rate's around 150. So we have to have spay and neuter.
But that's the key. I mean, we keep going back to that. Spay and neuter is the only.
And I still have money available.
Do
Somebody
have
under
some
$30,000 can come in and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have some.
do they bring the animal to the shelter or to a certain area?
You can't do it
They
like
take
that.
straight
To the vet, yeah.
Yeah, they just, I don't know if they can do it online or what, but they just fill out a little short form of who they are and stuff, and
She
then,
wants to be a team leader.
we make the
too. I
appointment
told
for
her
them, and they
y'all
have to
go
show
with
up
me
and keep the
to
appointment and
adoption
not,
event and,
you know,
learn
stand
all
up
this
to
stuff
bed,
and
so.
let me see that you're capable of handling responsibility of being a team.
But, you know, I've been involved since about
Kid, her-
91,
A kid?
and
She's grown.
there was a time not long ago that we were at like 3,800 to 4,000 a year instead of 1,800 to 2,000 a year, so. I am so elated about the fact that we're under 2,000 a year.
It was accident.
And
Oh, the one you were telling me.
Yeah.
In a 5-year period.
So I don't ever say
You
anything.
know, I think that's.
That's good, but it's just,
Still not good enough. I mean, it's
Yeah,
good, but
it's
it's
not
not.
acceptable, but nobody here wants to put them down, but we're all aware of the harsh realities with the limited resources we do have as to what we have to do.
we need to go talk to some government folks.
Anybody else got any more?
And again, now, understand, you know, I hope it's come across, as far as our government entities are concerned, they have worked well with us. They honestly have.
I'm talking about,
And,
She's
but
talking about legislation.
like legislation, well, yeah, there's still a need for improvement there, but they do have to be careful as well. They have to understand the environment they're in. They are in an elected office, they're representing their constituency. They're trying to move a regulation forward that their constituency is eminently opposed to. It's a time factor that, you know, it takes time to get there. Yes, it'd be wonderful if we had all these regulations overnight, but I think we all know that's not possible.
it amazes me there's not a leash law.
There is in the city of Lynette and city of Valley.
And
There-
West Point.
And West Point, right. There is not one in the county. But we're dealing with two, you know, again, here we have subdivisions and people are a little more cognizant of animals coming on their properties and so forth. In the county, you have larger spaces for them to roam in on multiple acres, and people don't see it as being an infringement as much when an animal walks through a pasture rather than a yard. And so we're just dealing in different semantics here.
And just to give you an example, I mean, I'm not a young person, and the requirement to have your dog or cat get a rabies shot every year is older than I am. And the state of Alabama still estimates that between spays and owners that don't care, less than 50% of dogs are inoculated every year, and less than 30% of cats are inoculated every year.
And that's just for your rabies that any animal could get, and you.
Right.
So,
Ours is a house dog and it still gets all the
Oh, sure, sure.
Oh, those house
Yeah,
dogs
me
are
too.
always the ones that get pregnant.
well, and just remember,
He's
them,
fixed.
they don't even
God.
have to see the animal with rabies to catch rabies from it. If they go out and drink in the water bowl after that possum or that raccoon has used the same water bowl, the saliva is what passes the infection. And so if your dog getting inoculated, it could get rabies just from sharing a water bowl with, you know, something that had the virus.
That warehouse space you was talking about, that they said you had to put the sprinkler system in?
Yes.
Where's that located?
It's in the Fairfax Mill Village.
Okay,
It's in the very back, it's across from Fairfax Elementary School.
okay.
It's what we're trying to make our new facility. That's what we're raising the money to improve. We were able to get the building cheap, and now we're trying to change its purpose and repurpose it to be our animal shelter.
You mind if I ask which code inspector told you that?
The
State
state
fire
fire marshal.
Fire marshal.
State fire marshal?
State fire marshal.
Because I know that the gentleman who's opening up the Chattahoochee over there, he had that same problem in the space that he is opening up his brewery in, and he had to take it up all the way.
And he's in West Point, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's in Georgia.
Yeah.
And this is Alabama Fire Marshal. It really wouldn't fall under a code as far as city is concerned, because it's not city property, it's county property. And the county doesn't have a code specific. So when you get into fire protection in an industrial setting, then that brings the fire marshal in, who has to approve your drawings and so forth.
I don't know what building y'all talking about. Now, the mill's been.
It's the old
it's
cotton
the old cotton
This
warehouse.
side of the middle.
Old man furniture building.
No, that's the Chattahoochee. We're talking
Yeah.
about our building,
Oh, okay.
which is the old cotton warehouse.
If you come out of Fairfax School and look to your right, you'll see it. It's,
Down
right
the
out the
hill.
front door.
It's just down the hill
slight
from the
down
water
hill.
tower.
There's a
It's
sign in
pretty
the
much
front
the only
door.
Oh,
building
building
left
left.
standing.
It's across from the Boy Scout
I got my
house.
aerial view, I got an aerial view.
Some areas of it have concrete walls 2 foot thick.
It's across the street from the Boy Scout house.
Yeah.
If that'll help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Now,
right across the street. Just look
Sue's
across
cheap.
the street and you'll see it.
Yeah,
It's
that's it down
a,
there.
it's a building that nobody ever sees. It's just a big
Two-story.
old rectangle concrete
So
building.
it's,
But it
you know-
also gives us the opportunity to make more money because it has fundraising space. We've got event space in there that we could have bingo or actual fundraisers.
and we thought
So-
we'd just have to have sprinklers in that area that we'd have the public in, but they're making us put it in the entire building.
But those are just things we have to deal with, raise money for. You know, that's just part of building, so. We're just hoping we can raise enough money to do all those surprising expenses.
There should be a sign on it.
And there's a fair amount of land with it that we're also hoping to put an exercise area in and where volunteers can come and almost have a dog park for the adoptable dogs to have people come and play with them and get them used to and be better pets when they are adopted. Right. So,
It's got
And
lots of
allow the
potential.
community to utilize that as well, and
We even got,
incorporate community more into what we do with a greater footprint.
you know, we thought if we had a more visible facility and a place that was more attractive,
Right.
and that doesn't mean fancy, by no means fancy, little paint. Yeah, just utilitarian, but functional, that does a good job, but it's clean and inviting and a happy place. Because basically the animals in the upstairs area in the adoption center are that's considered a no-kill area, and the shelter is considered where we have to accept all animals, and that's where we have to euthanize. So the shelter and the adoption center are separate, like at Paul's down in Columbus, you know, they have them in the same building.
yeah, but they're also two different organizations.
Right, but see,
So
we own the
let's
whole
not-
thing. Nobody
Yeah.
own, we do the whole thing, so we can't say we're a no-kill shelter because we own the whole facility. And we actually have to euthanize in the shelter, part of the building. But our goal is to be out of business one day would be wonderful.
Does that at least answer some questions? Feel better about kind
Yes.
of where we'd like to be, not where we are. but where
We've
we'd
come a
like to
long
be.
ways and we got a long way to go.
I'm gonna get with Terry and I'm going to volunteer. and
Excellent.
Wonderful.
We'll continue to.
And Terry has donated money to us to reduce our adoption fees, so.
Oh, yay, thank you. Well,
know,
you've done that before.
He did that at Christmas, and he's done that once again for this summer, so we really appreciate that.
And we had somebody just bring us another donation for our spay-neuter program, financial assistance program.
Part of it's for the spay neuter, and then another portion of it's for the lower adoption fees.
Excellent.
So we're making.
Any way we can to
Is
get
there
people,
a potential place where you need a wall where I can show some folks?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'll be through tomorrow.
Okay.
Sean, if you look in the camera, tell everybody where they can make a donation to.
They can make a donation to Chattahoochee Humane Society. Our address is 3265 Fairfax Bypass, Valley, Alabama 36854. If you'd like to make a donation online, you can hit us at www.chathumane.org. There's a donation button on our website that you can actually make a donation through that. Or you can call the shelter at 334-756-9377, and we can take a donation over the phone.
check, cash, credit
And you're on
card.
Facebook too, right?
And we are on Facebook. It's the easiest way to get to our Facebook page is to go through our chathumane.org website page and click on our Facebook page from there, and it'll take
To the
a
correct
direct
page.
link to our correct Facebook page.